Good evening. I'm Pastor Rick here at 3 and 1, and we welcome you to our Wednesday night midweek, our worship, our devotion time. And 3 and 1 fellowship, you are always said welcome. We are following along in a variety of psalms, and this evening we're going to open with Psalm 1. We're going to start at the beginning. Oh, the joys of those who do not follow the advice of the wicked, or stand around with sinners, or join in with mockers. But they delight in the law of the Lord, meditating on it day and night. They are like trees planted along the riverbank, bearing fruit each season. Their leaves never wither, and they prosper in all that they do. But not the wicked. They are like worthless chaff, scattered by the wind. They will be condemned at the time of judgment. Sinners will have no place among the godly, for the Lord watches over the path of the godly, but the path of the wicked leads to destruction. I recently finished reading a book, which we're going to share a couple pictures with you in just a second, of a couple of trees. The book's written by John Kennedy Vaughan, and it's titled The Right Fight. It was given to me by my oldest daughter. And what Vaughan writes about is about choosing love over fear. You know, there's so many times in our lives that becomes our main choice in life. And really, that's sort of what it is all about. The visual that he uses are two trees. And they're much like the trees we just read about. The one that's planted on the river that roots are deep and strong, and the other. And you can see that one has roots of patience and kindness, truthfulness. It has roots that protect, that trust, that have hope, and have perseverance. And the result is a green, healthy tree full of fruit. Then there's a tree with roots of anger, rudeness, envy, pride, unforgiveness, boastfulness. These roots delight in evil and selfishness and end up producing a tree without leaves and no fruit. You know what's interesting is Vaughan's clear in this book that it's not just good soil. See, it's not just good deeds. It's not just not being rude. It is the fact that we do these things, and these trees are rooted in those behaviors because of their understanding of who Jesus is. See, unfortunately, I think in 2020 that many of us have bought into the feel-good lifestyle. We have bought into this understanding that we never look at the roots. If it sounds good, it must be good. And yet, look at our society. Continues to fall apart no matter how much we say the right things. See, because the roots are bad. Just to be good is what society says. Well, according to whose standards? Good according to who? Well, just be moral. Can't everybody just be moral? Moral according to who? See, there's no roots to those words. They sound nice, but there's no roots. So therefore, they begin to produce fruit that is either very small, very limited, or maybe no fruit at all. You see, to produce the fruit, it's got to be rooted in Christ. Now, understand, the psalmist didn't know Jesus. The psalmist knew of promised a Messiah, so he had a messianic understanding, but the psalmist's words are as accurate for us as Christians and believers for today, and those of you who are not, it is pertinent enough for you to realize there is a Messiah who says, I can give your roots really deep and strong, and you'll battle all the diseases and all the bad weather that's thrown against you. Reminded me of another story I read by a man named Ray Stedman. And Ray wrote a story about a man who told him that he was having trouble being well-rooted, which kind of goes with our psalm here. So Mr. Stedman said, well, there are several reasons that occurs. But first of all, let me ask you this. How's your private life with the Lord? How well do you know Him? How much delight do you spend in reading His Word? And then spending time talking to Him. See, we in the church and Christianity, we call that prayer. A lot of us think prayer is something beyond it. It's just talking with God, spending time there. He said, because after all, if it's not the time you spend in reading the Word that's important, but it's the time you spend enjoying the presence of God is what really strengthens you. Well, Stedman finished, and his friend hung his head. And he said, well, I admit, I don't do very much of that. And that is exactly what the psalmist is saying. He says, those who are godly have learned. They have a hidden inner parts of their life to draw upon grace and glory. So when the storms of life are raging, as the hymn writer says, they have something rooted deep. And that is their strength in God. Their roots are deep in rich soil. They go down, there's always water, and there's leaves on the trees and lots of fruit. You see, Psalm 1 is a message about how we're to nourish our lives and grow ourselves, to stand against everything. And not just grow ourselves, but how to grow our children. For those parents, this is how you raise your kids. For those of us who have friends and family, this is how we tell them. This is how we change society and stand in the storm. Beautiful, strong, and fruitful describes being rooted in God's life and love. Are we planted and nurtured in the soil of Christ's church in His character? That's the question. We want to be the tree planted by the water. Have a great night, and know that 3-in-1 is here for you to help you learn to be strong, to be fruitful, to have a change in your life, and to change lives of those around you. We are here to make you well-rooted. Join us on Friday night at 7:30 on our Facebook Live. We'll see you on Sunday at 10 a.m., either online or in person at worship. Thanks for coming out.